Admiral Thordak Valerian stood rigid on the command deck of the indomitable flagship of the Arcturian Armada, his six-fingered hands clasped tightly behind his back as he stared at the tactical display. The sweeping hologram showed the pride of the Arcturian forces, 37 warships arranged in perfect formation, an unstoppable spearhead aimed at the heart of the human colony world novice Aurora. Another backward human settlement to claim for the glory of the hegemony, Thordak stated with practiced confidence. They scatter their colonies like seeds on the wind, with no strategy, no vision. Commander Pelsia nodded beside him, her scaled skin reflecting the blue glow of the displays. The humans have proven resilient in the past, Admiral, but their defenses here appear minimal. They learn slowly, Thordak said, mandibles clicking in amusement. 8 cycles of conflict, and still they place outposts beyond their defensive capabilities. Lieutenant Krovic approached with a report tablet. Admiral, preliminary scans complete. We detect only basic orbital platforms. No significant military presence in system. As expected, Thordak allowed himself a small gesture of satisfaction, the slight unfurling of his ceremonial crest. Begin the approach sequence. Standard conquest formation. The great ships of the Armada adjusted, their massive forms realigning with practiced precision. Novice Aurora grew larger in the main view screen, a blue-green jewel against the black, home to nearly 3 million humans, and soon to be the newest acquisition of the Arcturian hegemony. Unusual energy reading at bearing 043 Mark 217, announced Sensor Officer Dreth suddenly. Faint at extreme range. Thordak frowned. Classification: unknown, Admiral. It appears and disappears from our sensors. Commander Pelsia moved to the sensor station. Sensor malfunction? Negative, Commander. I've run 3 diagnostic cycles. Thordak felt the first stirring of unease. Show me. The tactical display shifted. At the very edge of sensor range, a ghostly signature pulsed. There one moment, gone the next. It moved unlike any ship he had encountered in 4 decades of military service. It doesn't match any known propulsion system, Pelsia observed. Not Arcturian, not Vespidian, not Sorvan, and certainly not human. Their ships are crude by comparison. Lieutenant Krovic cleared his throat. Admiral, the signature is approaching. Impossible, Thordak responded sharply. At that distance, it would take. It's accelerating, sir. Exponentially. The tactical officer's voice rose in alarm. Admiral, the signature just jumped. It's within our defensive perimeter. Impossible. Thordak roared. Nothing can move that fast. But the evidence was undeniable. The unknown signature now hovered at the edge of their formation, a phantom ship that had somehow bypassed every detection system and defensive line. Admiral, Pelsia whispered, the humans have never demonstrated technology like this. Thordak's crest flattened against his skull, a primal response to danger. Full combat alert. All ships, defensive positions. Prepare to engage the unknown vessel. As the order transmitted, the mysterious ship vanished again. Where did it go? Thordak demanded. The bridge fell silent as sensor officers frantically searched their displays. Then, a soft chime from communications. Admiral, the communications officer said, voice trembling. We're receiving a transmission from the unknown vessel. On screen, Thordak ordered. The main display flickered. Where he expected to see the face of a human, pink-skinned, soft, vulnerable, there was instead darkness. A silhouette barely visible against the stars. Arcturian vessels, came a voice unlike any Thordak had heard. Not human, not machine, something other. You trespass in protected space. Withdraw. This is your only warning. As the transmission ended, the phantom ship reappeared, directly in the path of the Armada's advance. The phantom ship hung motionless before the Arcturian fleet, defying every known law of propulsion and stealth technology. Its hull, if it could be called that, seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, a void against the stars roughly the size of a mid-class cruiser. Magnify, Admiral Thordak ordered. mandibles clicking nervously. The view screen zoomed in, but details remained frustratingly elusive. The vessel appeared to shimmer and shift, as if constantly phasing in and out of reality itself. "What are we looking at?" Commander Pelsia asked, her usual composure faltering. Weapons Officer Nazek, a veteran of 3 interstellar campaigns, spoke up. "It doesn't match any known configuration. No visible weapon ports, no engine exhausts, no communications array. It's wrong." "Sir," Lieutenant Krovic interrupted, "I'm detecting energy buildups throughout the vessel. Pattern unknown, but power readings are significant." Thordak's military training battled with his instinct for self-preservation. "Target the vessel. All ships. Full weapons complement." The tactical display flashed as targeting locks engaged across the fleet, 37 warships, over 5,000 missile tubes, hundreds of energy cannons, all trained on the single Dark Phantom. "Sir," Pelsia cautioned, "we don't know its capabilities or intentions." "Its intention was clear, Commander. A threat. The Arcturian hegemony does not yield to threats." Thordak raised his arm, ready to give the command to fire, when Sensor Officer Dreth called out. Multiple new contacts appearing throughout the formation. The tactical display erupted with alerts. Where there had been one Phantom vessel, now a dozen identical ships materialized, scattered throughout the Arcturian formation, inside their defensive perimeter, between their ships, disrupting their carefully planned attack vectors. "Impossible," Thordak whispered. "No fleet can deploy that quickly." "Sir," Krovic reported, voice tight with tension, "I don't believe these are separate vessels. Quantum signatures are identical. It's the same ship, somehow duplicated." Communication channels suddenly flooded with urgent reports from other ships in the fleet. The Phantom vessels were appearing alongside each Arcturian warship, matching their position exactly, running silent with no detectable emissions. "Admiral," came the panicked voice of Captain Tuvek from the battlecruiser Relentless, "this technology is beyond anything we've encountered. The humans have never." "This isn't human technology," Thordak interrupted. "Humans are primitive. Their ships are bulky, inefficient. This is something else." A new transmission cut across all channels. The same otherworldly voice, but now broadcasting fleet-wide. "Your weapons are ineffective against us. Your technology is primitive. Your aggression is noted. Final warning. Depart the system immediately." Lieutenant Krovic swallowed audibly. "Admiral, I recommend we withdraw and reassess. If they wanted to destroy us, they—" "No," Thordak snapped. "I will not retreat based on theatrics and intimidation. For all we know, this is an elaborate deception. Perhaps a new human weapon system, designed to create fear." He straightened his command harness and addressed the bridge. "All ships, ignore these Phantom projections. Continue advance toward Novice Aurora. Prepare planetary bombardment sequence." The Arcturian fleet cautiously resumed its approach, each ship now shadowed by its dark twin. Minutes passed in tense silence. "Sir," Krovic said suddenly, "the colony defense grid is activating." Thordak permitted himself a smug expression. "As expected. Primitive orbital platforms. Target and eliminate." "No, Admiral," Krovic corrected. "Not the orbital platforms. Something from the surface." The tactical display updated, showing energy signatures erupting from the seemingly defenseless colony world. Not from military installations, but from population centers, from farmlands, from ocean surfaces. Commander Pelsia studied the readings with growing alarm. These signatures, they matched the Phantom ship. Before Thordak could respond, the dark vessel directly ahead of the Indomitable moved. Not with the lumbering momentum of a starship, but instantaneously, simply appearing in a new position closer to the flagship. "Evasive maneuvers," Thordak ordered. Too late. The Phantom ship phased partially through the Indomitable's forward section. There was no collision, no impact, but every system touched by the Phantom's passage simply stopped. Weapons, engines, life support, all dead. "We've lost 30% functionality," Pelsia reported, her scales pale with shock. "It passed through our hull like we weren't even there." Across the fleet, the same scene repeated. Phantom ships intersecting with Arcturian vessels, leaving disabled systems in their wake. Not destroying, merely neutralizing. Fleet-wide communications still operational. Came the communications officer's shaky report. Multiple ships reporting critical systems failure. Thordak stared at the tactical display in disbelief as his mighty armada began to drift, powerless against an enemy that defied comprehension. The Arcturian fleet hung in space, crippled but not destroyed. Admiral Thordak stood before the emergency power console, the dim red lighting casting ominous shadows across his features. "Status report," he demanded, struggling to maintain authority as his flagship drifted. Commander Pelsia consulted her tablet. 32 ships reporting severe systems damage. 5 completely disabled. Life support remains functional, but weapons, engines, and shields are offline across most of the fleet. "And the enemy?" Thordak asked. "The Phantom vessels have withdrawn to a perimeter formation. They appear to be waiting." Lieutenant Krovik approached with fresh data. "Admiral, our science team has compiled initial analysis of the Phantom ships." "Speak," Thordak commanded. "They're not conventional vessels. Our readings suggest they exist partially in normal space and partially elsewhere. Quantum signatures indicate higher dimensional properties we can't fully comprehend." "Impossible," Thordak muttered, though with less conviction than before. "The evidence is compelling, sir," Krovik continued. "These vessels appear to be manipulating space-time itself for propulsion and defense. No conventional weapons would be effective." The communications panel chimed. "Admiral, we're receiving a tight beam transmission. Text only." Thordak nodded, and the message appeared on the main screen. "Prepare to receive emissary. Diplomatic exchange requested." Before Thordak could respond, the air in the center of the bridge shimmered. Officers backed away as a figure materialized, humanoid, but clearly not human. Tall, with limbs too long and joints that bent in unsettling ways. Its skin, if it could be called that, rippled with patterns that seemed to reflect the stars themselves. "I am Nexarii," the being stated, its voice resonating within their minds rather than through the air. "I speak for the Guardians of Novice Aurora." Thordak struggled to maintain composure. "I am Admiral Thordak Valerian of the Arcturian hegemony. Your ships have attacked my fleet. An act of war." "No," Nexarii responded. "Had we attacked, your vessels would be debris. We merely demonstrated our technological superiority to prevent unnecessary conflict." Pelsia stepped forward cautiously. "You claim to guard this human colony. Are you their allies?" The being's star-patterned skin rippled in what might have been amusement. "Not allies. Guardians. Observers. The humans of Novice Aurora do not yet comprehend our presence, though they sometimes glimpse our vessels and call them ghosts." "Why protect them?" Thordak demanded. "Humans are numerous but technologically inferior." Nexarii turned toward the Admiral, its featureless face somehow conveying intense focus. "You misunderstand humanity's significance. They are young, yes. Primitive by our standards. But they possess something rare in this galaxy. Which is potential." Nexarii gestured, and a holographic display appeared between them, showing human history compressed into moments. Wars, peace, technological leaps, artistic creations, all flashing by. In a mere 12,000 years, they advanced from stone tools to interstellar travel. Their adaptability is unprecedented. Krovik studied the display with scientific curiosity. "Our records indicate human technological progression is unremarkable." "Your records are incomplete," Nexarii stated. "Humanity advances differently than most spacefaring species. Not steadily, but in great, unpredictable leaps. Given time, they will surpass even the Guardians." Thordak scoffed. "These fragile creatures? They die so easily." "Their fragility drives their innovation," Nexarii countered. "They create artificial environments to sustain themselves. They replace failing organs. They enhance their limited senses with technology. While your species has remained largely unchanged for millennia, humans constantly reinvent themselves. Commander Pelsia studied the being with growing comprehension. You're not protecting humans out of altruism. You're cultivating them. Nexarii's skin patterns shifted to a deeper blue. We safeguard promising species throughout the galaxy. Some, like humanity, show exceptional potential. We allow them to develop naturally, intervening only when extinction threatens. Like now, Thordak realized, our bombardment would have destroyed the colony. Yes, we permitted minor conflicts between humans and Arcturians. Such challenges strengthen them, but genocide would waste potential. The Admiral's posture stiffened. The hegemony does not recognize your authority to restrict our expansion. We do not seek recognition, Nexarii replied simply. Only compliance. You have witnessed a fraction of our capabilities. As if on cue, the main view screen activated, showing a real-time view of the Phantom ships. Where before there had been perhaps a dozen, now hundreds materialized around the Arcturian fleet, a vast armada of ghost ships, each identical to the first. Behold the Guardian Sentinels, Nexarii announced. A single consciousness distributed across multiple dimensional intersections. Your most advanced sensors cannot detect them until they wish to be seen. Thordak felt true fear for the first time in decades of military service. His mandibles trembled despite his efforts to appear stoic. What do you want from us? Departure, Nexarii answered. And a message delivered to your hegemony. Human territories are under Guardian protection. Study them, trade with them, compete with them diplomatically, but threaten their existence no more. 3 lunar cycles later, Admiral Thordak Valerian stood before the Arcturian High Command, his ceremonial armor dulled to signify humility. The 7 Supreme Commanders regarded him with expressions ranging from contempt to curiosity. Your report describes technology beyond our comprehension, Supreme Commander Kyvek stated, voice heavy with skepticism. Vessels that exist between dimensions. Beings that can replicate themselves hundreds of times. It strains credibility, Admiral. Thordak kept his gaze steady. I have provided sensor logs and testimony from 37 ship captains. The truth is unambiguous, however uncomfortable. Supreme Commander Rivasha, eldest of the Council, leaned forward. If these Guardians are as powerful as you claim, why have we never encountered them before? We've conducted 17 campaigns against human colonies. Small skirmishes, Thordak explained. Limited engagements that posed no existential threat to human development. Our planned bombardment of Novice Aurora would have eliminated millions, apparently crossing some threshold of intervention. The council chambers fell silent as the Supreme Commanders processed this information. Finally, Commander Zolvik, head of military intelligence, spoke. We have corroborating evidence. For decades, our deep space monitoring stations have detected anomalous signatures similar to those in Admiral Thordak's report. We dismiss them as sensor ghosts or natural phenomena. Now, I believe they were Guardian vessels observing us. Rivasha's expression darkened. You suggest these beings have been watching us? For how long? Unknown, Zolvik admitted. But patterns suggest they monitor all spacefaring civilizations to some degree. Supreme Commander Kyvex pounded his fist on the council table. This is unacceptable. The hegemony bows to no one. Thordak dared to speak without being addressed. With respect, Supreme Commander, this is not about submission. It is about survival. The Guardians demonstrated technology that rendered our fleet helpless without destroying a single vessel. They could have annihilated us, but chose restraint. Silence again descended upon the chamber. The implications were staggering. A power existed that could neutralize the mighty Arcturian hegemony at will. What do you propose, Admiral? Rivasha finally asked. Adaptation, Thordak replied. We must reassess our understanding of galactic hierarchy. The humans are not the primitive species we believe them to be, or rather, they are primitive, but with potential the Guardians deem worthy of protection. He activated a holographic display showing trajectories of human expansion. I recommend a diplomatic initiative. Learn more about these humans the Guardians value so highly. Perhaps by understanding them, we may gain insight into the Guardians themselves. Supreme Commander Zulvik nodded slowly. There is wisdom in this approach. Knowledge before action. Cowardice. Kivek spat. You would have us retreat before these humans? Not retreat, Thordak corrected. Strategic repositioning. The Guardians made it clear they don't object to competition or limited conflict with humans, only to extinction-level threats. We can engage with humanity on different terms. After hours of deliberation, the High Command reached consensus. The Arcturian hegemony would establish formal diplomatic relations with human governance structures, while secretly launching a comprehensive research initiative into both Guardian technology and human developmental patterns. 6 standard months later, Admiral Thordak stood on the observation deck of the diplomatic vessel Concordance, watching as they approached Earth, humanity's homeworld. In the distance, he could just make out the ghostly outline of a Guardian vessel, visible for a moment before vanishing again. They're still watching, Commander Pelsia noted, joining him at the viewport. Always watching, Thordak agreed. But now we understand why. The ship's intercom announced their approach to the diplomatic docking station. Thordak straightened his formal attire. The first Arcturian admiral to enter human space on a peaceful mission. Do you believe what the Guardian told us? Pelsia asked quietly. That humans will one day surpass even them? Thordak watched as Earth grew larger in the viewport, a blue marble teeming with a species that had gone from primitive tool users to space travelers in an evolutionary eye blink. I've studied human history since our encounter, he replied. They advance through conflict and cooperation in equal measure. They imagine possibilities before creating them. Most importantly, they never accept limitations. He gestured toward a small human vessel that approached to escort them, crude by Arcturian standards, yet elegant in its practical design. Today we are their superiors in technology and military power. In 1,000 years? I cannot say with certainty. The Guardians observe cosmic patterns we can barely comprehend. Thordak's mandibles clicked in a gesture of respect. Perhaps in protecting humanity, the Guardians protect the future of all species. As the Concordance docked with the human station, Thordak prepared to meet the representatives of a species he had once dismissed as insignificant. Behind them, invisible to sensors but unmistakably present, the Guardian vessel maintained its silent watch, a ghost ship ensuring humanity's potential would have the chance to bloom across the stars. They called the Guardian vessels ghosts, Thordak remarked. Perhaps one day we will all seem like ghosts to what humanity becomes.